Now, it's Pace of Play.
Come on, Glenn! Come on! Get your head in the damn game!
Putting the boys on the clock.
I guess we're playing for keeps now.
The fuck?
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another dazzling fast-paced pace of play. Pace of play, that is. And Lee, let me start off. Notah Begay, former tour player. I think he's got 3 or 4 wins on the PGA Tour. Hung up the spike, so to speak, is kind of replacing Dottie Pepper, becoming a full-time member of the broadcasting team for NBC and the Golf Channel. Do you think this is more of a a PC move, a minority pick? Very honestly, or is he really qualified to step into her shoes, so to speak, and become a full-time member?
Well, I mean, I think there's got to be obviously some PC that plays into it. There's no doubt that some of these diversity is a big part of the game of golf. I mean, it is a wealthy white man's game. Let's be honest, and so adding some diversity to it, whether it's at from an employee standpoint at a golf course or at a broadcast team, it's number one. He's a Navajo Indian. He's the first full-blooded Indian to play on the PGA Tour, and won 4 times. And I think the other part of it is that he is very close with Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
I think that probably plays into it just as much as his background. Is to talk about, but the guy's great, has great experience, and he was always a studio guest, I think, in the Live From on the Golf Channel,
right.
and I think he was pretty good. So
yeah.
I think from an experience standpoint, certainly diversity plays into it a little bit, but I think his experience and connection with Tiger Woods.
Well, I agree.
I
think it's a great story. I think he's got a great background. I love the earrings he wears. I know he makes a lot of wampum with Tiger Woods in his tournament that he does every year. But I agree, he's knowledgeable. My only problem is he can put you to sleep. He's not very exciting.
So Dustin Johnson wins Hyundai Tournament of Champions last week and has now withdrawn from the Sony citing the flu. But which guy named Johnson will have the best PGA Tour season 13? And let me give you some.
So easy
suggestions.
That's so easy. That's
Dustin Johnson.
It's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Zach Johnson, Richard Johnson, or Johnson Wagner.
It's a toss-up between Zach and Dustin, but I've got to go with Dustin Johnson. I think he's just got his skills. I think over he's got some advantages to Zach Johnson, length and this and that and the other. But I think overall, I think Dustin's going to have another very, very nice year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he is too skilled.
That's a great word. I like skilled.
To not really break out, and we saw him at Pebble Beach with the major thing, and kind of let that one go. But Zach Johnson is as steady of a player as there is. But I could see Dustin Johnson in the year with 4 or 5 wins and really blowing this category away.
Yeah, and he's very steady, like you say, thanks to his golf shrink we just had on. Morris Pickens.
That's
but
right.
I think DJ's going to have a very good year. But you could talk about Johnsons. There's Johnsons, and then there's Johnsons. As the old joke went. But anyway, Ryo Ishikawa. Ryo Ishikawa gets another special invite to the Masters. I think this is his 5th straight year, Lee, that he's going to be playing. And he got invited because then he wasn't a member of the U.S. PGA Tour, but now he has decided to play full-time here. He has become a member of the tour, and Augusta doesn't extend special invitations to members of the PGA Tour. Do you think because of this, they ought to withdraw it and give it to somebody else?
No. I don't. I mean, there's no doubt that Augusta has essentially relegated their special exemptions in the past to a lot of Asian players, number one, and a lot of players that were not PGA Tour members, or all players that were not PGA Tour members. But that doesn't mean that it can't change. And Augusta doesn't change very fast, but they're more than willing to change. This guy is an absolute rock star in Japan. And,
No doubt.
And for those media members that have ever seen what he goes through after a golf tournament,
Incredible.
a World Golf Championship, I mean, he's there for hours talking to the Asian media. So I think it's not a bad pick. It does kind of go against the grain with the PGA Tour membership. It does kind of go against the grain because, as you said, out of the 5 years that he's played, only 2 of them he actually qualified.
Right, exactly.
This is his 3rd special exemption, which is the most of anybody over the last 10 years. And I think Augusta is they want this guy to succeed because they got a little pie on their face by giving it to him over Ernie Els last year.
Right.
And then we know what happened with Ernie Els at the British Open.
That's exactly
so.
right. How do you think, real quickly, how do you think he's going to do moving over to Callaway? That's a big coup for Callaway.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And, I think he's going to promote their brand like nobody else. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, this week was the debut of the FedEx Cup leading caddy jersey. For our listeners at home, if you haven't seen this, it's the leader of the FedEx Cup points list. Their caddy will wear a jersey,
Special jersey.
highlighted in
Right.
orange,
Yeah.
or a caddy bib highlighted in orange with orange on the shoulder and orange on the pockets. Is this a big deal? Do you care about it?
I got to tell you, got to be honest with you. My feeling about it, I've talked to some other people. First of all, nobody gives a crap about it, and secondly, nobody's going to notice. Not a big deal at all.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal either. I do think that
I could see why they're doing it.
Well, it's probably a FedEx thing. FedEx wants to, continue to get a little more promotional opportunity.
Yeah, this was from FedEx. Yeah, it was a package deal.
Yeah,
package deal.
I wouldn't mind.
I'm waiting. I'm not going to hear anything. But
no, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing them expand this. Maybe do a top 10 type thing to where you got a big jersey number on your back. The caddy does, to where you know where you stand, especially as we get later in the year. How about we let the FedEx Cup leader ride in a cart?
Or a little truck, or a little FedEx truck.
That's right.
That would kind of be cool.
On a serious note, though, I think it would be interesting as this maybe grabs hold to see what the vendors do, to see if there's any clothing vendors out there that play along with this, and the guy starts.
That's a good point.
Dressing in orange.
You
to
know
match
what? That's
the
a good
thing,
point.
or really something grabs a hold to where, hey, I am the FedEx Cup leader, and
that's a very good point.
And my apparel vendor wants to capitalize on it. So,
what do you think about Jesper signing with Puma? There's a great guy. You talk about styling, like him and
it's no surprise.
Ricky Fowler, but he looks
he
great
really
in that
only
stuff.
has 2 companies to go to, and
Yeah.
it would either be
a
Lindeberg or Puma.
in a volcanic sand company or something like that. Rory McIlroy's jumped on board. He's getting politically correct, as all of the big star tour players are, by starting their own foundation, which I think is great. He's starting a foundation where he's going to have the name of a children's charity, a different one on his bag every week, to help promote that charity and overall promote charities for kids. I think it's great, but all of a sudden, do you think he's just kind of following hat that all of the other tour players do? Because it seems to be the in thing. Oh, I got to start a charity. Everybody's got to start a charity, and I think they do it more out of being one of the guys rather than a benevolent type of thing.
Well, I think there's something to that, but these guys have PR coaches. And they know that being on Twitter and getting your brand out there is a thing that needs to be done in this day and age. They know that having a foundation and giving back is something that needs to happen. Yep. So I think part of what you're saying is that I'm not critiquing him for starting a foundation.
No, not at all.
The thing that I love about this story is just what you said, and I think the only word you left out of the 6 Bags project is that all the children's charities are going to be local to that golf tournament. And I think that's the very important thing that's going to be really cool for what he's doing, that's totally different from anywhere else.
You're right. I was remiss on that.
He's using the Boys and Girls Club of Tucson when he plays in the match play. He has talked to what else was a couple of the other tournaments that he's playing in. So they're all going to be local in that particular city, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with that. All right, that's going to wrap it up for Pace of Play. We're going to step away, take a short break.